Anyway, this is like being my only video for the day, but because I'm just feeling like crap. And anyway, why the name Laser? You're not laughing now. That station for nearly 2 years saved me from having to listen to shit like Jimmy Savile, listening to wankers like John Peel. I don't think John Peel was nearly as bad. I mean, it's like, kind of, what do you say? I mean, you know, apparently the song Hang the DJ was actually written by Morrissey because everybody knew and no one really was afraid to speak out. You know, there's panic on the streets of Carlisle. I mean, it's just sickening. But that station was brilliant. And from 1984 onwards, this station took out Radio 1's audience in the South, and it took out Capital Radio's audience, and it took out the independents surrounding London and the South East. It made it up to the Midlands, but an AM signal is not that great. However, laser signal was so good, and the marketing was so good. It was American. It was so good because they mastered marketing. You see, the British think we know all about marketing, but no, the British don't. Because this station really did embrace the 4 Ps of marketing. You know, its logo, its style, everything. So, over on Radio 1, there was, you know, that Jimmy Savile. Whereas Laser operated an ethical policy. You can read some YouTube videos about it. The better known was Radio Caroline. The thing is, Radio Caroline was a bunch of tosspot druggies, you know, who were into a degenerate ideology called LA, which was loving awareness. It was a bit ridiculous. It was a bit new age. So that's why Laser was saying we have an ethical policy. Now, you know, we know your kids are going to be listening to pop music, but we're not going to push any sort of agenda. History repeats itself. Radio 1 is an abomination. Radio 1 was created because the equivalent of Laser in the 60s was Wonderful Radio London. Wonderful Radio London was 10 times better than Caroline. Apparently, I wasn't even alive then. But the boomers will all tell you about Big L. So again, the government shut it down. The government shut down Laser. Now, how they shut down Laser, I am not going to basically tell you. But now we have this drivel on the radio called Radio 2. We have this crap on the radio like Heart. And they are just crap. Heart copied Laser, not the other way round. But the thing is, even Heart copies the personality DJ. You know, like Amanda Holden. I've had about 5,000 facelifts. You know, she's just an airhead. So we wonder why we've got such a kind of odd youth when they've been listening to Radio 1. I can almost guarantee you that arsehole, that arrogant little prick who can't even rap properly. I mean, Eminem could rap properly, but this arsehole, Slob Dylan, or whatever it calls itself, chanting for death to Jewish people, you can almost guarantee he was aired on Radio 1. Radio 1 needs to be put off air for good. Why should our TV licenses, well, actually not mine because I don't have one, why should Radio 1 be funded by a compulsory tax on television? Basically pushing artists it wants. If you're a good artist and you say, oh, I'm a Christian artist, I'm a, I want to have sort of like happy values, you're screwed with Radio 1. I mean, if you say you're basically into trans rights and you believe in mutilating children, then they'll probably give you an airing. But Radio 1 is an abomination. Radio 1 needs to go. Now, they made a mistake in the 60s of creating this. We already had independent radio, like Radio London, Radio Caroline, there were others, but they were commercial stations. But the Labour government shut them down. In the 80s, Margaret Thatcher, I mean, they're stupid. I mean, okay, closing the mines, fine. Closing down Laser, how dare you? You know, I'll tell you what, Maggie, I hope you're doing at least 2 years in purgatory for that one. How dare you close down Laser? But now my YouTube channel name is not sounding as crazy. I mean, I'm completely having a crazy day today, but it actually isn't that crazy. Laser was an icon for free radio. It was an icon for ethics, and it didn't basically push a view on anything. That was its, aim. Caroline was a bit different, but eventually they shut down Caroline with a piece of legislation that is so authoritarian you don't even want to know. And actually that piece of legislation, the 1990 Broadcasting Act, is why we're in so much crap today, because our media is a joke. ITV is a joke, Sky is a joke, the BBC. But it's all because the government regulates even the independently owned ones. Which is why people like Toosey, people like Paul Thorpe, people who are doing independent journalism on YouTube, you need to enjoy it while it lasts, because that bastard Starmer is going to try and come for you. They're already coming for you in saying that we need blasphemy laws. Well, if you say something about the Lord Jesus Christ, I will just caution you and say, be careful who you're talking about, because he has the power to send you into hell. However, people from a certain other faith, and also, some Christians, well, no, not many Christians, if you say something about a certain guy from, 578 AD, you're in big trouble. But apparently this is now going to be regulated, and they're going to regulate what you say on YouTube. I reckon by the time this Labour government is finished, they're going to be putting controls on the internet. They're going to say we need to regulate it. They're going to say this, they're going to say that, they're going to say the other. And also you've created a climate of fear where people are too scared to even go on the internet. That's why I'm pissed off with several people I have shared my idea with. The old ideas are the best. We have an abomination for media in this country. The BBC is just like enough said, but even LBC is a joke. And even, quite frankly, even to the boys at GB News, Fox is just so much better. Fox is just, you can tell. I've told people down the corner, you can tell when I've been listening to too much Fox. Even the thought of Fox just cheers me up for the day. So anyway, I'm going to, it's almost like time for my daily dose of Fox, followed by Laser, followed by Fox, followed by Laser, followed by Fox. I might even rename my channel one more time. What do you reckon? Laser Fox.